And it's the Final Mix Show.
All right. Welcome to the first episode of the Final Mix. I'm your host, John Mahoney. Joining me are my co-hosts, Mickey Finn and Brian Kesselring. Tonight on the Final Mix, we're going to talk about everything from the latest in music news over to the latest in music technology. Our guest tonight, the illustrious Matt Muckle, you may know from such projects as everything from working with Eric Dover to Buck Cherry to Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses. So welcome, Matt.
Hey.
How you doing? Thanks for coming out.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, because this is the first episode of the Final Mix, I thought we'd kind of just go around here for a minute, kind of talk about who everyone is, introduce themselves a little bit, and I'll just go ahead and get it started. I'm John Mahoney. Final Mix, kind of my idea to put a show like this together. Got my start in the mailroom at Sony Music back in like 1993. Quickly rose to work in the marketing department, which, I was kind of like that guy. If you ever saw Spinal Tap when you did the in-store and the band shows up and like nobody shows up and,
Right. That's great.
it's, except it was the Spin Doctors instead of Spinal Tap, and it'd be my job to go into like the Tower Records and, put up the weird origami displays and all of that crazy nonsense. And then after that, a thing called Black Friday came. I don't know if you remember that, in 1998, where literally like thousands of people in the music industry lost their jobs. You could literally see them like carrying their paper, their all their little things at their desk up Sunset Boulevard. So kind of the writing was on the wall for me, and I was like, I think it's time to, at least get out of San Francisco, because the Bay Area, being a secondary market, was like the first branch to get let go. So before that, though, I kind of got ahead of myself. Worked with my co-host here, Brian Kesselring. He was the singer of a band called Puzzlefish, who I saw really early on, like when I was 17, who absolutely blew my mind. We'll get into that more later, but smash cut to us, me, A, managing his band, and then B, we started a label together, which was an incredible learning experience called 420 Records, internationally distributed, multiple bands signed, and just got to see the whole music industry from like the ground up, and that was amazing. So then moved to L.A., worked at Arista Records for just a little bit, then went on to be the publicist for a band you may have heard of called the Bad Brains. Kind of get credit for being the godfathers of punk rock. Another great. Yeah, and by the way, HR is going to be on the show. We actually have him coming through. Which is going to be amazing. So, that was another great learning experience. And then ultimately started artistpr.com, which, we'll get into that more later, but sort of a one-stop drop for bands to be able to promote themselves affordably. And with that said, I think I'll hand it over to Mickey Finn, legendary Mickey Finn, and let him take it away.
Wow, yeah. How do you follow that? I didn't bring my notes. But,
Bring it, Mickey. You
We're
got
tap
this.
fans, kid.
yeah, Mickey Finn, hailing from New Jersey. Moved to the Bay Area as a teenager, got into the punk rock scene there, and joined a band called Jet Boy. We kind of emerged in the early 80s, 83, glam rock resurgence. Attracted a lot of attention, moved to L.A., signed with Elektra Records, recorded our first album amongst the whole hair metal Sunset Strip craze. Things were turmoil at Elektra. We got bumped, and we got picked up by MCA. They released our first album, Feel the Shake. That was in 88. 1990, we put out our second album on MCA. And we reunited in 2006 to do some work again. But I now have a new project I'm working on called Cold Blue Rebels. And you can check us out on YouTube. And our new album, Blood, Guts, and Rock and Roll, just came out on Horror High Records. Available on Amazon, iTunes, worldwide.
Let me just ask you a quick side jag. Anybody knows me knows I'm like the complete Guns N' Roses freak. And I bring this up for a number of reasons, but also because I think it's important for our audience, who are mostly musicians, to learn from one specific thing of your career, which was the relationship you guys had with Guns N' Roses, and how you were like the Northern California band, and they were from Hollywood. And you did one of the most important things, which was just connect those basic dots that did the math and was like, hey, you know what? We have a huge following in Northern California. Guns N' Roses is the biggest band in Southern California. the ultimate back scratch.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, we also did that with Poison. LA Guns. It was like, yeah, I mean, the scenes were erupting in San Francisco and LA. Our Sunset Strip was the Broadway Strip and North Beach, where you had the Stone and the On Broadway and the Mabuhay. And we did. We stayed at each other's houses and opened for each other. Guns N' Roses and Poison both opened for Jet Boy in San Francisco, and we would come down here and open for them. And it was just like that whole scene, and all the record labels were on us, and there was record company people at every show, and it happened pretty quick for all of us.
Very cool, very cool. And I guess that brings us over to the great Brian Kesselring, a.k.a. Kikasso.
For all of you that are vocabulary challenged, it's a little pun. It's kick-ass and Picasso, wrapped up into one. But yeah, my background is I have extreme ADD when it comes to geography, because I went from Hollywood to San Francisco, started 420 Records, opened up the first DJ school in San Francisco, which was called Object Spin Turntablist University, where I'd teach the art of the turntables and spinning 4 records at one time. And then now I'm back down in Hollywood, and I just don't seem to know where to park myself. So that's my deal. 420 Records was, as John said, a very odd, specialized, favoring the artist, independent label. And, we were very artist-friendly and, kind of set the mold up there for, how to not screw your neighbor, how to not screw the fellow musicians. And that's about that.
Awesome. Well, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break. Before we do that, we're going to leave you with a little Charlie Sheen rant, which I absolutely love. I know it's a music show, but Jesus Christ. Charlie Sheen, my new idol.
But it is music.
Yeah, well, it is music. So there you go.
It is music.
Aha, just poked a huge hole in your logic. And when we come back, we're going to talk with Matt Muckle. Stay tuned.
Some are saying that you're bipolar.
Wow, what does that mean?
I guess that, you're on 2 ends of the spectrum.
Wow. And then what? What's the cure? Medicine? Make me like them? Not gonna happen. I'm by winning. And I was banging 7-gram rocks. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. I'm just winning. I blinked and I cured my brain. I have 1 speed, 1 gear, go. Oh, shut up. Shut up. Stop. And so, move forward. I use a blender, I use a vacuum cleaner, I use, stop. Household items. I'm by winning. And I was banging 7-gram rocks. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. I'm just winning. I blinked and I cured my brain. I have 1 speed, 1 gear, go. Yeah, I am on a drug. It's called Charlie Sheen. Stop. It's not available, because if you and then what? Because if you try it once, you will die. Your face will melt off, and you're droopy-eyed, armless children. Wow, what does that mean? I'm by winning, and I was banging 7-gram rocks. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. I'm just winning. I blinked and I cured my brain. I have 1 speed, 1 gear, go. I get tiger blood.
ArtistPR.com, your one-stop drop for all your music promotion needs. Members of Artist PR are able to submit their music to radio and press all over the world. They can also submit their music to licensing opportunities for television and film. Even get their own music video, plus downloadable contracts, industry directories, and all the tools and resources an artist needs to promote their music. Go to FinalMixShow.com and click on the Artist PR banner to try it for 5 days for just $2.95. That's ArtistPR.com. All right, welcome back. Our guest tonight, Matt Muckle. You probably know, has played with everyone from Buck Cherry to Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses to Tom Waite to a number of...
John Waite.
I'm sorry. To a number of, played a session, the ultimate session drummer, played on many, many major label albums. So, Matt, welcome, and thanks for joining us on the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So, where did you get your start? How did you get into this whole crazy business?
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, I'm from the East Coast, so I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I started playing drums at the age of 2. My cousin lived a few doors up from me, from my parents, and he played. They both him and his brother, both my cousins played in a cover band, a disco cover band.
Yeah.
And it was just like, my parents, that was the safest music that I could listen to. But at that time, I mean, they were still out dancing. I'm the baby of the family, so I'd get these old 45s sent to me from my godparents. They owned a vending machine company, and anything that was like not used anymore or cracked, skipped, whatever, I got these old 45s, and I learned how to play all these drum parts, like disco tunes and like all this other stuff, 70s rock. With the skips in it and the records. I'd be like, and I'd be like, freak out, and learn the tune like that, So it was interesting. But it started that way, and then when I heard Cat Scratch Fever.
Yeah.
The first time, and saw Gene Simmons spit blood and fire.
And you were
that was it. I was like, kids in
That'll do
Satan's
it.
service, here it goes.
Were you into the Kiss disco record that they put out?
Hated it.
Oh, okay.
Couldn't understand it. I mean, I love disco, but I just could not correlate those two.
But do you like it now?
Can't stand it. Still can't. And I talked to Bill Coyne, God rest his soul, about that. We'd make fun of it all the time. And I'm more of I'm still I'm in mid 30s, so like the Creatures of the Night, when that came out, it was like the biggest drum sound ever.
Yeah.
And it was just like scared me. And he was still spitting fire and blood, and it was great.
What was the first like big concert you ever saw?
It would have to be, believe it or not, it was a Christian rock show. It was a big concert, though. It was a guy who wrote for Elvis, wrote for Black Sabbath and The Who, Stu Meinl Lefevre. Insane vocalist, man. That was like the first concert I ever saw, but I want to say the first concert, let me think. Let me put it this way. The best concert I've ever seen in my life. Let me I'm going to throw it out there, and John, you're going to agree with me. Antichrist Superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Marilyn Manson. It scared me, it intrigued
yeah.
me, and it put raised the hair on my back and on my neck and in my arms.
I just got chills.
I just got chills myself. And
Yeah.
I never, and it hit, that's where music kind of pinnacled for me, and it never got hard after that again. So
It's funny because the guy sitting right next to me, to the right of me, Mr. Brian Kesselring, was the one who turned me on to Marilyn Manson and was like,
He's a
"Oh my
genius.
God, the ultimate."
He's a
lead
genius.
singer. He was like, dude, he cut himself and then told the audience to spit. And he was like, I was front row, and I said, that's a lead singer.
That's the lead singer,
and
right?
and then from then
that's
on,
entertainment.
yeah.
I need to be scared. I mean, I at that point, you've seen it all. I mean, so
Right. But here's what I really want to know, because this is important. All of us that are in this room, except for maybe you, Megan, because you haven't sold your soul to the devil yet. But
I'm asking for it back, please.
But all of us essentially, anyone in the music industry, anyone at the sound of my voice, essentially kind of joined the circus in the eyes of their family and their friends, and we're like,
Yeah,
fuck
no
this, I'm going to be a rock star. So my question is, what concert did you see that was like, oh my God, these are the coolest guys I've ever met? And then you were like, that's what I'm going to fucking do.
It was well, I didn't see it live, but it was before. I mean, I was probably 7 or 8 years old when "Shout Out to the Devil" came out from Motley Crue, and when I heard the beginning of that album, in the beginning, that first track on there, I don't know what it is. I've been intrigued with horror
changed your
movies.
life.
It changed my life. It was insane. I mean, I don't know. It's terrible to say this sometimes. And I feel embarrassed because from my beliefs. But however, like "Running with the Devil" is the first time when I heard Van Halen, my head almost popped off of my body
too.
and it was insane. And like I said, my parents were trying to put a bushel under that, man, and kick it under the mat and please, and the more they detested it, the more I wanted it,
Yeah.
It just is what it is, man. It's it's insane.
Awesome. A quick side jag, though. Let's go around the room here. Mickey, same question. First concert you ever saw that made you just go join the circus?
First concert, man.
That was changed your life and made you chase music for a living.
Probably AC/DC.
Yeah.
AC/DC at Day on the Green
Yeah.
up in the Bay Area.
Yeah, that'll do it.
That'll do it. That'll convert you anyone, right?
Yeah,
I mean, Angus in that schoolboy's
Yeah.
uniform, who can resist?
I toured with AC/DC for 6 weeks, man. We're out with
really?
We have Cinematic, yeah.
And I mean, when I moved out to California from Jersey when I was 15, there was a whole new slew of popular West Coast artists like Montrose and Sammy Hagar and
Yeah.
people that I had no idea who they were, And that was all part of it, you know. Dio, I mean.
Oh yeah, man.
And of course, Kiss,
Yeah.
you know, Alice Cooper. But before all that, like Kiss and Alice Cooper, before I could go to a concert, I was into that stuff.
Sure.
Like,
Right.
just the
That's-
album covers.
It's smelling
You know what I
that.
mean?
That's
Yeah,
you were like,
exactly.
this is insane.
But was there maybe that's the wrong reference point, but was there a certain time where it's just you remember going, you realized your dream and was like, this is what I'm going to do for a living, and it wasn't just a hobby, and it became
and you know what, I gotta say it was kind of like that Motley Crue era too. You know, Too Fast for Love. I had joined my first band as a singer, and we were kind of like this Sabbath-y kind of band, and then I started, you know, finding like Motley Crue and Saxon and Fastway in these bands, and it was like, oh man, that's it. You know.
Well, and also here's the beauty of Mickey Finn. Fucking like signed to a major label at like 17, 18, 19, something like that.
No, I wish, but
Oh, okay.
it was more like 21.
Oh, well, still, that's
when
you
I was
know what I
too,
mean.
right around that time too.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, I had gone through like, you know, I was like a punk rock kid, and I went through all those phases like ska and oi and punk and, you know, and which was amazing to me because it was like something where I felt I fit in, you know.
right.
And then, you know, when I started learning about Motorhead and Motley Crue and stuff, it was like, wow, this stuff it's not, you know, classic rock like what I grew up on or oldies rock, but it's, you know, it's not punk rock either, you know.
Right.
It was just.
How long was Jet Boy around for and like gigging for before they got their deal?
It was, I think, maybe 2.5 years.
That's really
Two
short.
to 3 years, yeah.
It's really short. What about you, Brian?
Well, I'm going to actually unify West Hollywood and Hollywood here and tell you that 2 concerts that completely changed my life were Motley Crue and Depeche Mode. So back in 1986, I got
Two different ends of the spectrum, right?
Oh yeah, West Hollywood and Hollywood.
Yeah.
So back in 1986, I got the best graduation present ever. My mom handed me the keys to the house and said, "You know what? For your summer graduation gift, I'm leaving the state and taking your sister." Which I had a house with a pool, limos lined up in front of the house, went to 2 nights of Depeche Mode in a row, then saw Motley Crue, and I swear to God, my freaking pants caught on fire. You know, and just getting a chance to see both sides of it. And then there's always the infamous Southern California Oingo Boingo shows at Irvine Meadows. So I came from a lot of different sides of the entire thing. And by the way, I forgot to shamelessly plug myself before. I was also the lead singer and main songwriter of a band called Puzzlefish that was up in the Bay Area during the entire thrash funk scene. And we were one of the bands that, you know, not unlike Mickey's story, the Deftones used to open up for us. We used to open up for the Deftones. We're constantly playing shows with Primus and Mr. Bungle, which I think is a really relevant scene, although the entire world doesn't necessarily know how blowing up the Bay Area was in the 90s. But it was just really a music scene that was very in and of itself and very unique, and the fans were rabid. And I'd really like to see that come back. You know, I'm not seeing a whole lot of love on the live music scene because up there you could barely get into any of these shows. At the Omni in Oakland, they used to throw these funk festivals with 10, 12 bands. The Omni's a big place, and the place would just be, the entire floor was just bouncing up and down and shaking. Yeah. What do you think, John? You were there.
Yeah. Well, just to answer the question myself, my first concert that definitely did that was Poison, which, you know, a lot of people look at that. They're like, you know, people have a million horrible things to say about Poison, but, you know, I stand by it to this day. And I'm taking into consideration that maybe I was just really young, but still, I'll never forget fucking walking into the Cow Palace and just being afraid because I just never been at anything like that. And there was just hairballs just slamming beers, just wild, just rowdy. And I was just up in the nosebleeds, just like petrified and scared, but just amazed and blown away all at the same time. And then like 2 months later, then I went and saw Bon Jovi, and still to this day, I'm a huge Bon Jovi fan. But both those two bands, fucking phenomenal. And then to tie it all back, that was when I decided, I want to be in a band, but worst case scenario, I have to be a part of this weird subculture that I have now discovered. Smash cut to 3 years later, forming my own band in high school, literally A&R'd all 5 guys that had never met each other, but went and saw Puzzlefish. And this was like in the heyday of the Bay Area scene. For those of you who don't know, we're talking like 90 to like 93, 94 was really going strong. And it was all sort of just riding the coattails of bands like Primus, but also there was a very like heavy metal scene, bands like Forbidden and Testament. And Puzzlefish was actually managed by this very sought-after manager by the name of Debbie Abono, which just passed.
Bless her
rest in
soul.
peace. And it was really weird how I met Brian, because I saw the name in the pink section. I was like, Puzzlefish. And I showed up and I caught like the last 2 songs of these guys, and they just blew my mind. And they were just the band to watch. And I used to like very timidly go up to Brian after the shows and be like, "Oh, great show, dude! Hey, you guys are awesome." And we got to open for them, and they were opening for and it was just a great scene. It was sort of like the counterpart to like what Mickey's scene was in the hair, the Sunset Metal, Guns N' Roses, Poison, Motley Crue days, but it was in the Bay Area, and it was all sort of riding the coattails of the whole funk thrash scene. So I was sold at a very early age, and it's the minute I decided that was what I was going to do with my life, having super Catholic, conservative parents.
Yeah.
I don't even know what you're talking about there. I can't even relate.
It was war.
Same here.
It was war, and it was a war that I had to fight every single day, and they're finally just like,
Yeah. Well, at least you didn't come home with, bleach blonde hair and pink eyeshadow and lipstick on,
That's right.
right, exactly,
And
exactly.
fringe pants.
Yeah.
So
Trying to
I think
convince
Sasha,
your parents.
you were in
it's
Sasha's
cool,
jacket these
I'm
days.
fine, really.
yeah, exactly. So, anyways, that was quite the sidejack. But anyways, back to Matt here. So, and then you were one of the few guys that I know that actually wakes up and does music for a living. You are a 1%er. I mean, there's not many people who can say that, and you do it. So, props. You not only drum, but you produce.
props.
Tell us. I want to know everything. I mean, I already know a lot, but for those who don't know, you're producing bands. You're a session drummer. You were in Buckcherry. You played with Dizzy Reed. You played with Eric Dover. I want to just.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very blessed. I got to pinch myself sometimes, and sometimes I'm dreaming. I feel like it. It's great though. I wake up at 7 a.m, walk the dogs, and and start the day. It's writing. It's constant writing. I write for probably 3 or 4 people at one time, and it's not just writing, just anything. I am hired to write pop hits. I am.
So you're writing music, you're writing lyrics.
Music, and then with the artists, and I'm shopping them too. So I do management as well. So as I'm doing that, I'm doing management. I hire a team of people to do the, as we go along. The radio promotion, video promotion, publicists. I use John on a lot of people, which by the way we'll talk after this.
What you mean, artistpr.com?
Absolutely.
Artistpr.com.
Plug it.
Shameless
So it's
plug.
all good. So so I get to do that for a living, and I do teach. I teach at a music school down in Orange County called Virtuoso Russian Music Academy, and the students are just off the chain incredible. And I have like a school of people to pick from there, man, to see the next best person.
What instruments do you play besides drums?
I play drums and guitar. I can play bass, but I mean it's mostly I write on an acoustic guitar.
You write on acoustic,
and,
yeah.
and I play drums, but it's cool. Drumming is so easy now. I mean, I love going out and playing, doing gigs with Gilby Clarke and Dizzy Reed and John Waite and stuff like that, because it's like playing classic rock. You're playing your favorite hits, and I need to find a few more people like that like the Pat Benetars and Eddie Moneys to go out, and I can just make it easy on myself and keep making the money.
Is he still alive?
He's great. God bless him. God bless him.
Excellent.
So I know, but you know what I'm talking about. So it's one of those things. But the thing that keeps my heart ticking here is working with these new young artists that have a dream like I had and never had. I never experienced what they're getting. I mean, they got a little bit more money funding them, and we're taking this thing and I'm teaching them all the ropes. And the easiest way to do this is that there's no easy way, but it's blood, sweat, and tears, and it's setting an example, trying to be like trying to show them, man, like this, don't go down the road I took. There was an easier way, you know, and but also trying to dirty them up as well and let people believe this is the real deal. Let them live it. Check this music out. Check this music out. Check this kind. And it's always about like just, just interjecting great stuff to them, and trying to, trying to get the best out of people, and it's so it's pretty it's interesting, but it's stressful. It's everyone's counting on you to make it all happen for them. And as of course,
are you coaching them on like stage presence,
absolutely,
and how to look and how to, because you have so much to hand down,
Yeah, there is. It's exactly what I'm doing. It is like I have one artist named Madison McGrath. It is just incredibly talented, and she is just you're gonna hear about this girl. I mean, she's amazing. I mean, she's gonna become the next Steve Vai. And sing like Avril Lavigne.
I've seen her.
John Cena.
Yeah, she's
insane.
I told you guys all about this
what's
girl.
the name again?
Madison McGrath.
Madison McGrath. You heard it here first, folks.
Yes. Yeah.
Actually, we're gonna play a track from her coming up in a little bit.
It's great.
Yeah. So, we'll talk about her for a second. I mean, because let me just say this about that. Went to the showcase, Orange County.
Right.
You sent me her link to her website. And I was like, "Are you high? What? What? You have like this 12-year-old ginger kid? Like, really?" And,
yeah. You played it for me too.
I did.
And what did I say?
Well, hold on. Here's where it gets good. I was upfront with you, and I was like, I do not get it.
I don't get it.
I don't get it. And I was like, in my head, girls of that age, you kind of want to go with the Miley Cyrus. You want to go someone. Like, you want to get someone who you think other girls are going to want to sort of emulate and dress like and are going to kind of be, I don't know, I hate to say it, but slutty on a certain Britney Spears level.
We discussed that.
So anyways, I played for Mickey, and then I also played it for Zach Ambrose. Hello, Zach. We know you're listening. And they both ruled against me. They're like, no, this is the shit. So I go to the
get in on this.
I go to the showcase, and it was like a showcase for Disney, and I bring my right hand guy Zachary Neville, and phenomenal. And like this girl's like 12 years old.
Yeah, she's gonna be 14 next month.
And he you could tell that she'd been coached, and I only knew that because of my relationship with you, but just chills, man, phenomenal. Like I imagine what it was like if you had seen Michael Jackson at like 12 years old. Like you were just
I think it's like the difference between Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears, you know what I mean? That she had that soul about her. You know, she sang from her soul, and that's a rare thing for a kid that young, you know what I mean?
To change gears for a second, whatever happened with that? Because any A&R rep that was at that show should have pulled the trigger on her. But that's you know what? By the way, this is where the show. This is the real stuff. What we're about to talk about right here.
This is the real stuff.
And we're gonna get into this later after the commercial break when we play a band called Warner Drive. But I digress. This girl has the whole goddamn package, yet cannot get a record deal, and that is just the most.
But
she doesn't need one.
Yeah.
Well,
let me interject one thing here. This is the best time to be a musician because we are actually in music post-apocalyptic era. Everything is turned upside down. Shit's gone haywire. Back when we were all getting started in the music biz, all we had is like a Ma Bell dial-up telephone and a Xeroxed
right.
one sheet,
Yeah.
and everything was licking postage stamps and beating feet on pavement.
Those were good old days, weren't they?
Yeah.
Those were good old days in a way, but I mean,
come on, man.
As long as you stay savvy. I mean, I'm surprised you have such a full head of hair from all the hats that you wear. I mean, how is your hair not falling out? Because I did part of that for a while, and I had to actually get some kind of hair surgery. Not really, but Bosley is your friend, and down the road.
Jeez, man.
But it's
He's a savior.
This is the time that because this show is all about the music industry and it's about current musical trends, and I want to encourage all you kids out there that are trying to go viral on YouTube, that are trying to put your music out there, push it, push it, push it, do it. Because the budget that it took when I got started to get things rolling, your budget is like 1/50th now of what you're going to have to spend just to get your presence out there on the internet if you're smart, and then you hook up with the right people. So I don't really think that necessarily a major label deal is all that important anymore. If you go viral, you're out there.
I agree with that, but I think the point they're making is that this girl is worthy of a major label deal. There's still some out there. They're still floating around. There's still money in the music industry. You know what I mean? Don't fall for the hype. But they're very selective and they're very picky, and they've got time with this one. You know what I mean?
Right. But here's just a fun fact for you, and take it however you want. Go and look at who's on the radio right now. Go and look at who's selling records right now. Go and look at who's successful right now. The major labels dominate all of it.
Mm-hmm. It's the same as it always been.
It is.
I mean,
I agree. That aspect
it started in 1950 again with the singles, but however, man, I don't. It gets to the point where there's such a facade, and I don't buy into it a lot of it.
I know.
Good music is good music.
Yeah.
And if I can play it on my acoustic guitar and sing the thing back and play it on and translate it, onto a distorted guitar and make it a metal song, and still be able to play it on piano and make it beautiful as well. Music's music. If someone likes it, man,
Amen.
someone's gonna buy it. Yeah. It doesn't matter. That's why the Beatles will always be the best.
Right.
Absolutely.
But let's not lose track of where I was going. What the hell happened? Because I know
Madison?
Well, first of all, let me ask you this. There was like major people at that event.
Absolutely. And they're all on board.
Right.
They're all on board.
So what's going on with that?
Well, I'm right now. I took the bull by the horns, and I'm managing her as well as writing with her and producing her. And I can't say exactly right now. I don't want to ring the bell just exactly yet. But a lot of great things are going on as of this past week, which is funny. We're talking about that now. I have some other major producers that want to come in and co-write with me and with Madison, and we're gonna have them championing it into the labels. And it's someone who's 13 years old. I mean, how can you really expect from someone to build a following at that age? It's just almost impossible. I mean, where's she gonna go?
Right.
So what we did is, because she is, she is a Christian. She goes to Calvary School in Orange County, and it's a Christian based. Her family is very, and much support of the Christian music scene and whatnot. The stuff that we write together, there's nothing smutty about it. It's about what everyone's going through at her age and maybe slightly older, and being real. It's stuff. It's like,
so it's not
really
Christian,
hitting.
It's not Christian rock per se.
No, it's rock and roll. It's a rock and roll show with no smut, man. Coming out and kicking your face in and
which
playing,
I agree.
playing, social distortion stuff, man, and coming out and saying something, man. It's positive and it's fun. It's a rock and roll show, and it's the way it should always been, man. I mean, it doesn't need to be all that.
But at the same time, we also don't really need any more 13 or 14-year-old girls singing.
Tramping it up. We don't need it anymore.
Exactly.
It's done with. We're trying to hear this girl's trying to set an example, and make a difference. And she is. She's going to do it. She's going to blow up.
Right. Well, we'll just leave it at this. I understand last time I talked to you, there was this one performance that she did with the Gracious Few.
Oh, yeah. That was amazing.
Is that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. Check it out. If you go to YouTube, and it's Madison McGrath, Gracious Few, Guilty Fever, and she sits in and plays at the House of Blues in Anaheim and sits in with 40-year-old rock stars from half of Live and half of Candlebox and solos Tom Sawyer, and then sings Far Behind from and brings the crowd to their knees. I mean, I was crying. I was crying on the side of the stage. I was floored. And if you watch the YouTube performance, you will hear the roar of the crowd when she does Far Behind, and then she plays Voodoo Child. And just hangs with guys that have been playing for 20-some years, veterans. And you can't believe it. It's insane.
Well, you know what? Everyone that's listening, go ahead and YouTube that. And we're going to cut right now.
Hey, you know what? Why don't we give the listeners a
exactly.
little taste
Well, that's
this?
exactly. You read
Let's
my mind,
give
Mickey
them a taste
Finn.
of this.
Because
I want to refresh my memory.
We're actually going to listen to a track by Madison right now. I have no idea what it's going to be. But here is Madison. And, go to our website, FinalMixShow.com. Let us know what you think about this artist. This is definitely someone to look for. This girl has the whole package. She's got some big people behind her. It is going to be cool. And we're going to check that out when we come back. More with Matt Muckle. Stay tuned. Django.com exposed your music to millions of internet listeners worldwide. Best of all, Django.com allows the artist to target their fans and their genre of music. For example, if you're a metal band, you sound like Metallica, you can literally just target Metallica fans. If you sound like 50 Cent or Jay-Z, you can target Jay-Z and 50 Cent fans. Go to FinalMixShow.com, click on the Django banner, and set up a free account. Start increasing your fan base today. All right, welcome back to the Final Mix Show. This is the segment where we talk about the music news, kind of what's going on. I'm going to hand it over to Mickey Finn now. Mickey, what do you got for us?
Well, today's headlines. Let's start with some Steven Tyler. Always a good one.
Yeah.
Steven Tyler has announced today that he has his own app that's coming out. And for $2.99, you'll get access to exclusive video, photos, sounds, and Tylerism created by Steven himself. So look for that one.
Gotta love the Tylerisms.
Gotta love Tylerisms.
Well,
I don't know what that means actually, but
more importantly, like what these apps, like every half a fag named Ryan Seacrest, like now has an app. What exactly? Next thing you know, next time I talk to Sasha, he can't see, but she's gonna have her own app. What are these apps? What do they do? Why are they important? And why is everyone seem to have one? every time I turn around.
It's the new gold rush.
Yeah, it's all the people that you see staring at their phone constantly,
Yeah.
playing games.
All right.
Yeah, my favorite one is the zombie app where you take a picture of yourself and
Shocking.
it zombies your face,
Yeah.
and then it bites at you when you tap on the screen.
Nice. Nice.
I thought it'd be like one of those things you call out and you can speak into the phone, but it's Steven Tyler's voice taking over like your words.
Well, I want Steven Tyler GPS. Or Christopher Walken GPS, even better. But anyways, what else is
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
Christopher
What
Walken rocks.
what else is going on?
What else? Let's go for some trashy rock here. Hole singer Courtney Love has settled a lawsuit brought against her by a fashion designer who I can't pronounce their name. And apparently Love defamed her in a series of messages on Twitter last year. It's reported she's going to pay $430,000 instead of going to court over this, so I guess she knew she was going to lose this one.
Whoa.
That's a lot of money, huh?
Jar of worms.
Yeah, apparently
Worms
she-
everywhere.
She ruined this girl's career as a fashion designer.
But that's an incredibly hard case to prove. Defamation,
Yeah.
and people say shit about people on the internet all day long, and from what I understand, there's not a whole lot you can do about it. I mean,
No, it's true. It's true.
that's amazing that I want to know who her lawyer
They
is.
said that it could have set a legal precedent for what qualifies as defamation on Twitter. So
Ooh.
I guess I would have
Slippery
defined that. and
slope.
Well, it's about
yeah,
time, you know?
Maybe opened up a whole can of
I
worms
like
there
that.
for
I'm
other
going to
people.
check into that.
Yeah. Let's
What else is
see.
going on?
What else have we got here? Gee, I don't have too much more for you, John. An article about
the Pamela Anderson roast.
Pamela Anderson. You gotta love that. Who does not want to roast Pamela Anderson?
Well,
John.
John, no, more of the Courtney Love.
All right, so I don't know. I know there's a few more things going on.
Charlie Sheen.
Well, there's Charlie Sheen
Charlie
going on, of course.
Sheen, God.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Oh no. What about Google Music?
Google
Huge.
Music.
Let's hand that over to Brian real quick. 'Cause I think
Yeah,
you
there
got
we go.
the 411 on that.
All right, here's Picasso's corner.
All right.
For all you rock stars and guys who've been standing in front of Marshall Stacks for the last 20 years, I'm going to give a shameless plug that we're not getting paid for Q-tips. Get out your Q-tips, open up your damn ears, and hear this. Google Music is poised to completely take over, or this is their business model, to completely take over the music industry with what's called a cloud-based company. Remember the word cloud, because what they're looking to do is to catalog all songs, all the way back from Coltrane and further back into Delta Blues, all the way to current music and all indie bands included. And what they're hoping to do is to launch a service that streams to Droids, to iPhones. The iPhone's going to be like a slippery slope. And really what they're looking to do is put the smash down on iTunes so that, similar to Rhapsody, you're going to be able to live stream any song you want. And they hope to own, or to at least be able to afford to the public, the entire catalog of all modern music. That's huge. And the fact that Google owns YouTube, everything gets indexed through YouTube, so you have a chance. If you're an up-and-coming artist, you have a chance to go viral through YouTube. Now you're being indexed and going up and up the charts, it's actually called the index, with Google, and people will find you quicker, which brings me back to the point before of all you young musicians, whether you're a 12-year-old rapper or a girl with an acoustic guitar or a band that's on their way up. It's really a bountiful time for you to harvest the social media technology and get your stuff out there, because it doesn't take the large budget that it used to take. So should I go into my tech spiel right now? Alrighty.
Tech.
All right. So continue with the Q-tips. Get your ears open. All right. There's this new technology called Aftermaster that is mind-blowing. Most people out there won't know what Digital Zero is, but Shelly Yakis and the guys at mystudio.net, Aftermaster, Studio One, have found a way to break through Digital Zero, and this has already been tried and true with people like Lady Gaga, etc.
Janet Jackson.
They're able to make final mixes louder than anything that's currently on the radio, louder and in high def. So the upside of this is, you know how you're watching a movie and the movie is at one level and then a commercial for Dannon yogurt comes on and it blows your freaking ears out? They're about to level that playing field. So it's going to go all the way from, movies to TV shows to commercials to obviously the music industry, which is the most exciting part of it. And what it does is, if you're a tech head like me and you know anything about what digital zero is, like, an unnamed Metallica record, when you get up to that point where it can't get any louder, everything just kind of smears and smashes left to right. Picture you're looking at a painting. Well, what this Aftermaster technology does is it throws everything up by 2 to 3, maybe 4 decibels in volume, which when you come on the radio, you sound banging. But it takes everything into 3 dimensions. So you can hear the fingerprints of the bass player plucking the strings. You can hear the singer breathing and swallowing, and it gives a 3-dimensional clarity to the music that is just unbelievable. So you can find information on this at mystudio.net, as well as for you young bands or you young aspiring stars. What you can do actually is you can also. They're doing this for American Idol auditions and comedy auditions, but there's you'll get this information on mystudio.net, but you can go to these booths that they have set up around the country and go in there and record, which I've actually done one of my own, and went in there and did from my top of my voice scream down to a really, really quiet whisper vocal, and then a manual fade out on the guitar. It does a phenomenal recording. Do you agree?
And where are these? Where can you find these?
Well, actually, if I could, go to mystudio.net, click on locations. But if you really want to kind of get the 30-second elevator pitch and really be able to digest everything Brian just said, because it's a lot to kind of take in, click the About, and there's a nice little video there that will sort of really kind of feed it, help you digest it and feed it to you in a nice little video. But this is some really groundbreaking stuff. I myself came across this several months ago. Not being more on the promotion side and not being on the tech side, I didn't really know what to think. I went in there, they gave me a demo of it, and even just from a layman's fan, I listen to music kind of point of view, they sit there and they play you, okay, this is this U2 song before Aftermaster. Now listen to it, after Aftermaster.
Mind blowing.
And even if you're not an engineer, you're like, oh wow, yeah, that sounds better. That'd be the version I'd want to buy. Right. Mm-hmm. And smash cut to me bringing in Tom Zutat, who signed Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Metallica, Tesla, ton of bands. Google him. He's probably the most prolific A&R guy of all time. I was like, okay, well, this guy's going to be the acid test to really see where this stands. And this guy doesn't get excited about much. And he was completely floored. Just the other day, I had Dave Aaron in, who is Snoop Dogg's engineer, who anytime you see Snoop Dogg, I don't care if it's at a 20,000-seater, or if it's on Saturday Night Live, every single record he's done, every artist on Death Row, we're talking Tupac, anybody on Death Row Records, U2, just an incredible list of people. Even harder to impress than Tom Zutat sat in on a demo the other day and was just blown away by first that they broke digital zero, and it's some game-changing stuff. Now, where it affects you, the listener, the cool part, and Brian, I'll let you talk about this, is how for literally $10, don't buy that 6-pack of beer on the way to practice tonight. You're going to be able to take whatever recording you have and digitally enhance it in ways that would normally have cost you, I don't know,
thousands,
like $10,000. Is that an exaggeration?
No, it's not really an exaggeration.
So, what? Tell them about the process of, for instance, our good friend Sasha, we're going to take her CD and we're just going to run it through the actual machine, and explain a little bit about that and how the people listening can take advantage of that.
Well, the really cool thing is for the mid-range user, for the bands that are trying to come up, and even if you've already paid to have your stuff mastered, what you can do is show up at one of these booths, just pop your CD in, and there's just a little button that you push to put it on karaoke mode, which turns off the microphone, and you get 5 minutes per session. So say you have 10 songs on your record for $50. I'm sorry, bad math. For $100, you can run your music through this Aftermaster and get the substantial dB boost, get the 3D clarity of the sound, and it comes out in high def. And one of the great things is that shortly here on iTunes, you're going to have the option of purchasing the original or purchasing it in HD. And all it takes is just a click on preview to hear the difference. And unless you're Helen Keller, you're going to be sold.
That's awesome.
You're going to be absolutely sold. And then, for the high-end user, there's a way that through the website you can contact them and you can have your stuff individually mastered by the man who has done more platinum records than anyone in history, Shelly Yakis, and have your stuff done track by track. And I'm telling you, the sound quality is phenomenal. I've been an audio guy my entire life, and it just about blew my hat off.
Yeah. No, this is all headed up by essentially the people that run the music industry. I mean, we're talking about Larry Rickman, who co-founded Interscope Records. Like Brian said, Shelly Yakis, the most successful engineer in the history of music. And by the way, super humble, right?
Oh, awesome guy.
My God,
They all are.
yeah,
They all are. They got their finger on the pulse. They know what's going on.
Like nice guys. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Which is
we could,
rare.
we could all learn something from that. Anyways, listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we're going to get back into a new segment we called, it's the first episode, a segment called Hottest Unsigned Bands, and this is going to eventually really reach the whole country. So if you guys know a hot unsigned band that you think is really got the whole package, and I'm not just talking, hey, my friend's band, whatever. I mean the whole package. I mean that you got hit songs, you play shows, you sell merch, and by the way, that's what labels are really looking for. They're really looking for bands whose machine is running, they can get behind, they can cut the fucking check, and they're
already doing it.
So we're going to come back with a band called Warner Drive. Got some split.
We're going to smash or trash it.
We're going to smash or trash it. It's going to be good stuff. So stay tuned for the Final Mix Show coming up right after this. ConstantContact.com, the very best newsletter to keep in touch with your fans. It's crucial to send out reminder emails to your fans and your friends whenever you have gigs or other newsworthy information. A good newsletter will help you capture the attention of your fan base and help you build successful, long-lasting relationships with your fans. A newsletter is also an excellent way to sell CDs and merchandise, and at the end of the day, it pays for itself. Try it free for 60 days by going to FinalMixShow.com and clicking on the Constant Contact banner. All right, we're back. That was Warner Drive, the track Faking Smiles. I'll get it started here. I liked that. And also, these guys have been doing it for a long time. And recently...
How long is long?
I'm talking like... let me just think about that for a second. At least 5 years was when I first heard about them. And they were called Fully Loaded at that time. And Albert Winkler, who ironically just quit this band, and I'll get into that in a little bit, who used to work at Artist PR, joined this band and all of a sudden was like, oh my God, dude, we're playing these sold out shows. These guys sold out the House of Blues almost by themselves with another band that's pretty cool called Run Devil Run. Actually, we got to get them on the show. But anyways, these guys have a huge following, have been doing it for a really long time, are kind of like a role model for what you need to do, how you need to do it. Not only did they sell out almost sold out the Roxy in the pouring rain, they also tore their asses off all around the country.
Where are they from, John?
They're from LA.
SoCal band.
Yeah, and they're, by the way, produced by Mike Klink, who some of you geeks may know, also engineered Appetite for Destruction. Quick sidebar, though. During a recent meeting with Tom Zutat, came to find out that Tom Zutat actually produced Appetite for Destruction, but kind of threw Mike Klink a bone as the producer.
Mostly guitar sounds for Slash. Slash uses them for.
Well, I was just in that meeting with Tom Zutat at my studio, and
you would know better, right?
Realized how much he really did know about sound. But anyways, I liked it. I thought it was radio friendly. I think that could be a really big band if the right people got involved. And if you pounded that track into the heads of people across the country 50,000 times a day,
yeah, of course,
which is what it takes, or whatever. But let's put that aside for a second. I stand by it as the song, think it's great, and I think there's something to be said for a band that's able to A, tour, and B, sell out the fucking Roxy, which is probably the hardest market in the country, because it's, LA is just filled with a bunch of people that come here and wait tables for 3 months and then leave. But I'll hand it over to Mickey. I know he's got a little bit of a different opinion about this band.
Yeah, well, I have to say, I did see the band. I did catch them probably last time they played at the Roxy, and I wasn't totally sold on the whole image of the band. They seemed kind of typical LA. I don't know. I should actually like the band because the singer's got a mohawk and he sings, he doesn't scream, somewhat similar to Mickey Finn back in the early Jet Boy days. But there was just something that did not seem sincere, or I just wasn't buying the
They just rub you the wrong way.
Just the whole look and the vibe of the band.
Right.
The record sounds like it was produced great. I'm not a huge fan of the singer. He can sing. There's nothing particularly interesting sounding about his voice. To me, when I listen to the song, that's like the weak point is the vocals. It's a catchy tune, sure, and the production on the guitars and the drums and everything sounds great. And I agree with you. If you play it, 50 times a day, it's probably going to stick in your head. I mean, I can still hear the melody in my head right now, but. Is it have the potential to be a smash hit? Does it have the potential to be a hit that's going to be remembered, a year later? I don't think so.
Let me ask you this, then. When you saw them live, stage presence-wise, show-wise, showmanship-wise, not impressed?
If you had told me they came from, the Midwest and some random small town or something, maybe, but I mean, we live in L.A., Southern California. It's like it's a whole different breed of people.
Right. Well, one thing you said that I thought was interesting during our pre-conversation before we were driving in here tonight was I threw out, dude, these guys sold out the fucking Roxy in the pouring rain. How many bands could say that? Which to Mickey replied, tons of bands, man. Fucking I see bands come into lip service. Well, by the way, Mickey also works. I don't know.
Sure.
Works at Lip Service.
Lip Service clothing, rock and roll clothing for 25 years.
Yeah. So if you talk nice to him, he'll get you a nice discount.
Which he refuses to give any lip service to anything he doesn't believe in.
Yeah.
Well, Mickey.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, good point.
But yeah, my point is because after 25 years of playing in bands, and I try to be as optimistic as the next guy, but there's always like the one guy in the band who's like the super oh my God, dude, the best thing ever happened. This is it. We're gonna be huge, and I tend to keep one foot on the ground and be more realistic. So to me, it's like, it's one show. It's like, okay, they sold out the Roxy. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. But, what does that mean in the world of, you know what I mean? Like, who are they? Who knows about them? Where are they going? It's not, to tell me that, it's like, okay, cool. But it's not like I'm super impressed. Like, oh my God, really?
So
You know what I mean?
bottom line, you're saying ultimately the songs aren't there.
I don't know. I mean, the Roxy is what? Like 200, 300 people? You know what I mean?
No, it's more like 500, 600 people.
I don't think so. The Key Club is like 500, 600.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Well, at least 300? Can we split the
300.
difference?
Yeah,
I got to give a shout out right now to Ed McMahon. Ed McMahon, you rock, because Mickey just quoted Ed McMahon with half of his catchphrase: "Keep one foot on the ground and keep reaching for the stars."
There you go.
Yes, you go, Ed.
Well,
I digress.
Over to you, Brian. What did you think of that single that we heard? If you put your A&R shoes on, you're the head of a major label. You could pull the trigger on these guys. Would you sign this band based on what you just heard?
I don't think you really want my opinion on this, because I like really hard to listen to music. I like really esoteric stuff with great musicianship, and I like dissonance. These guys are very harmonic. I don't want to actually give a vote of condone or,
What do you think about the production?
The production was phenomenal.
It sounded good.
Yeah,
Sounded good.
The spread.
We can all agree on that. Yeah, production was good.
The sonic spread between the guitars and the guitar solos and the vocals, and because it's very easy, as everybody in this room knows, to get in there when you're starting, when you start dealing with like 32 tracks of stuff, to start, the vocals start stepping on the guitars start stepping on the bass, the bass starts stepping on the kick drum. So as far as the production, it was fantastic. I'm not really a big pop music guy. I like difficult to understand music. My favorite band ever is Mr. Bungle. If you don't know them, Google them, and you will be so confused that you'll either be laughing or say, "Brian, you're an idiot." So, that's just one of those things. But for production values, I say fantastic. And then the next thing I would say is Aftermaster it.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Muckle, what do you say?
I actually agree with the Finster over here.
All right.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you as well, John. I think that the production is great. What I liked about it, it's actually a real recording. You can hear the drum not exactly being hit in the same spot every time. It's kind of cool. It has that rawness to it. However, sonically, it's banging, man. I wish I could meet the.
Is that a hit song?
Yes, it's a hit song. Lead singer. I'm gonna cut to the chaser. I don't buy the lead singer on this one.
All right. Anyways, well, I'll tell you what. I feel like this band deserves their shot, and I'm going to be
Sure. Like I said to you earlier when we talked, I have mad respect for any band, any musician that is doing it.
Amen.
Because I'm still playing in a band. I'm playing in a new band that I started a year and a half ago after 25 years in music, and I know what it's like.
Right.
You got to pay your bills, and you got to rehearse and write music and raise money to get things off the ground.
Well, that's a nice
and,
segue to where I was about to go, and this is really what it's about. At the end of the day, you're told, like, we want you to be selling records, we want you to be selling on iTunes, we want you to be touring, we want you to be selling merch. These guys are doing all of those things.
Yeah.
And Albert Winkler, who's going to be on the show soon, literally has, like, man, these guys fucking tour nonstop. Like, these guys
and
are
they
like,
have a new record out, right?
They have a new record out.
And did they do it themselves? Is it on a label?
No, I believe Mike Klink, who produced Appetite for Destruction, did. But listen, my point is this, is that these guys do it and they tour nonstop, and they are like the role model of how
Work
you
ethic.
should be doing it.
Yeah.
Total work ethic. But here's also an interesting sidebar. Albert Winkler, who's now got his own solo project, but co-writer on that song we just heard, Faking Smiles, literally just quit the band because he's like, you know what, man, fuck this. I go on tour for 2 weeks, and Muckle, you can totally relate to this. No, actually, Sasha, sit back down, because actually I have you right where I want you. he's like, you know what, man? We're on the fucking road for 2 weeks. It's a total sacrifice. I have nowhere to live. You know, it's a constant battle with my employer, and I come back with like $300, and it's like it's a total sacrifice.
Yeah,
and
I
he's
know
like,
all
you know
about
what?
that one.
He's like, you know what? Fuck that. Let's, you know, it's. You know, they just kind of feel like they're wasting their time out there, and it's a really, that's what it comes down to, and that's one of the things I hope to accomplish with this show is to help get bands that deserve the notoriety that they deserve. I think this band has it, and here's the beauty of the music industry, everybody. There's only about like 5 to 7 A&R reps that really make the decisions of, all right, signed, not signed. I'm going to send out an email, which I rarely do because I have dialogue with pretty much all of the major labels, and I'm going to say, check these guys out. I feel they deserve it, and I don't do that very often.
They
but
deserve
I feel
their shot,
I feel like these
I
guys
think
really
they
deserve it.
too. I just
Yeah,
want to pitch
you know.
in there.
Well, thank
They're
you.
very hard workers.
Go viral.
Well, by the way, we got Sasha on the mic.
Yeah, we
Diabolical.
do have girls in the studio. They're
yeah.
being quiet, but we
Yeah.
do have girls in here,
So,
and there's more on the way.
We're laughing
let's
quietly.
we got a new guest on the mic here. Sasha, talk to us about everything that I haven't talked to you about. Like you're starting a label, you're leaving on tour. What's going on? What do you want to talk about?
Well, to be honest, John, do we have to wrap this show up? Should we save this for next time?
No.
I mean, we're already
Okay.
over the hour.
All right.
That was my escape clause.
Oh,
But we've got more beer.
you bitch.
And
All
coming,
right.
But no,
so-
I would be happy to talk.
All right.
about
Well, listen,
this
we're going to
on
have
the next
Sasha
time.
on our next show. I guess we're out of time for tonight. And let me just say this to everyone listening. Believe in yourself. Believe in your dreams, because the only people that'll scoff at your dreams and give you shit are the people that have given up on those.
Yeah.
Join us next time on The Final Mix, FinalMixShow.com. Until next time, I'm your host, John Mahoney, saying good night.
Good night, folks.